Nobody's perfect. Certainly not me, certainly not you, and certainly not Donald Trump. But an imperfect Donald Trump still beats Kamala Harris at her best. And neither Trump or Harris were at their best last night. They were at their very realest. Kamala was well-rehearsed, composed, aggressive, but voters still don't have a clue about what she wants to do. Trump was emotional, undisciplined, but his vision for America was clear, and he owned the big moments.
I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president. And we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive. This is the one
here.
that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy.
Kamala was steady, but didn't have a moment. She triggered Trump for 90 minutes, then cocked her head and smirked. The Times says immediate reaction from political analysts favored Ms. Harris, whose attacks appeared to rattle Mr. Trump. But not all voters, especially those undecided few who could sway the election, were effusive about the vice president's performance. Kamala's strategy was to provoke Trump and distract you from her record. A cowardly strategy for someone who wants to lead the country. We expect solutions, and she came up empty. Democrats are the anti-Trump party. We get it. You hate him. You wasted 90 minutes in front of 70 million people making fun of him. But what about the American people? Undecided voters say, I still don't know what she's for. There was no real meat and bones for her plans. Another one says, nothing is clear to me. I want to know how all of this impacts my family financially. Another said, I felt like the whole debate was Kamala Harris telling me why not to vote for Donald Trump instead of why she's the right candidate. High interest rates. Can't get my family into a home. My credit card's maxed out. There's migrants crowding up my kid's school. Kamala ignored you. The most fundamental question of the election, the first question of the night, went right to her, and she dodged.
When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
Blah, blah, blah. Vague nonsense. And for the rest of the night, she was evasive on the core issues. We all know Trump's plan: tax cuts, tariffs, border security, peace deals. Nobody knows Kamala's policies because she can't say what they are. She'll lose the election. They're progressive, unpopular, and they don't work. CNN polled people before and then after the debate, and Trump won the economic argument because his ideas are common sense, and he executed them 4 years ago. Undecided voters felt like they were watching Biden.
He spoke facts. She just basically repeated everything that Biden has said in the past.
What were your thoughts?
Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024, but she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist moderate stance is just a facade.
Kamala didn't tell you how she's going to make the next 4 years better. She spent the night trying to erase the last 4. Her big goal was to distance herself from Biden.
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
No one bought that. But was Trump able to define Kamala's dangerously liberal record?
She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one.
That was very effective, but Trump didn't do it enough. So people still don't know exactly what Kamala Harris represents. This helps Harris in a way, but it also hurts her. Because at this point, after a convention, a big interview, and a debate, people are getting suspicious. Why isn't she telling us who she is? Why isn't she telling us what she stands for? Why isn't she giving us the details? One of Trump's strongest moments was when he reminded the nation that Kamala has no excuses. She's in power now.
I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill.
Kamala's running on fixing the problems she created, but won't fix them right now. You'll have to wait till later. That's not an honest pitch. That's a pitch from someone who screwed up but wants to stay in charge anyway. Trump saved his best point for the very end. Watch.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in.
My restaurant guy, Luigi, tells me every customer remembers the dessert. It's the last thing we serve. And voters are going to remember that last line. Reuters polled undecided voters after the debate, and 60% of them say they are now voting Trump. Just 30% for Harris. She performed, but wasn't persuasive. Debates don't usually decide elections. We're just fresh off a debate that did, or should have, but it was so decisive the Democrats pulled a switcheroo. So we expected a decisive night. And last night's debate wasn't. Elections are usually decided by the strength of the economy and which man or woman can lead us forward.
We are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
So how did Harris win the debate and lose voters? Well, it's easy to win when it's 3 against 1, and we'll get to that in a second. But the left continues to be fooled into thinking attacking Trump means they're winning. He's been impeached, raided, arrested, shot, insulted for 90 minutes. So why isn't Kamala Harris winning? Politico, after watching the debate and sleeping on it, just out with this: the danger of underestimating Trump. When all the corners of elite thinking are in agreement, whether it's on social media, Wall Street, the Beltway, print newsrooms, or in cable TV green rooms, it's best to be very skeptical. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.